This is the one, the only, the Polygon Siskiu T8, a bike that is super near and dear to my heart, but not only me, clearly to a lot of all of you out there too. So that got me thinking, what makes the T8 so special that it's not only our best-selling bike, but one of the highest reviewed value trail bikes on the market?
I had an absolute blast testing this bike, and hands down, this is the most fun and capable trail bike I've ridden at this price point.
The roots, the rocks, stuff like that. This bike, that active suspension, it definitely, out of all the test bikes here, kind of levels that stuff.
I am so psyched with this thing. If you buy it, you will not be disappointed.
First things first, let's talk about the frame. The editors at Pink Bike raved about the good looks of the Siskiu, calling it the best looking bike on test at their recent Value Bike field trip. But we all know that a good looking frame doesn't necessarily mean it will ride well. While some brands simply repurpose older frames for their budget-friendly bikes, Polygon built the T8 from the ground up to be a modern do-it-all trail bike. But don't just take my word for it. Here's Will from Flow Mountain Bike to tell you what he thought about it.
One of the most endearing traits about the Siskiu T8 is just how playful it is on the trail. The 430mm rear centre is quite short, and thanks to that 35mm stem, the front end steering is quite light and responsive. That means this bike doesn't quite have the same plowability of a bigger travel bike like the Siskiu N, but it does mean it's much more agile. It's easy to tip over and initiate a turn, and the low bottom bracket, supple suspension and grippy tyres keep you stuck all the way through.
The T8 is also available in different wheel sizes. So the small that I have here has a 27.5-inch wheel, the medium has a 27.5 or a 29, the large has a 29-inch as well as the extra large. And these small wheels, combined with that playful geometry Will talked about, have been super helpful for me as I've progressed, not just my trail riding, but jumping too. All in all, the T8's future-proof geometry and modern standards makes it an exceptional choice for not just new riders, but also seasoned veterans who may want to customize the bike to fit their particular needs and riding style down the road. All right, so we know the frame is dialed, but what about all the other components on the bike? Well, Polygon didn't cut any corners on that either. The Siskiu T8 comes equipped with a Fox 34 rhythm fork and float DPS shock that has been tuned specifically for this frame. And let me tell you, it rips. I've even put it to the test at a Super D race, and the bike handled the Black Diamond Trail with ease, earning it and myself a second place medal. Now let's hear what the guys at Lone Wolf have to say about it.
Like, some of us thought it had more travel than it does. It kind of leads you into thinking that it's a longer travel bike, so you are pushing yourself and the bike on bigger features.
I couldn't agree more. The T8 feels like it has even more suspension than it actually does. And if you really want to push the bike to its limit, it can be equipped with a longer travel fork and piggyback shock to maximize its descending capabilities. Moving on to the drivetrain, the T8 features the highly acclaimed Shimano SLX 1x12 drivetrain, making gear changes absolutely seamless. A poor shifting derailleur is one of the most frustrating things, and the SLX on the T8 has never let me down. The bike also has a wide range 11 to 51 tooth Shimano cassette that is a total game changer on the climbs. Here's what Jason Herman had to say about it.
The T8 here has a 51 tooth, so way easier to climb, especially when you need to go slow because you're tired, you know? So it's just much nicer to be able to cruise, take your time up the hill, so you can save your energy for the downhill fun. And I much prefer the larger gear range that the T8 offers.
So if you're looking for a bike to take the edge off even the steepest of climbs, the T8 is the one for you. Lastly, the T8's Schwabe Hansdampf tires provide exceptional traction. I absolutely love the combination of grip and rolling speed these tires offer, and apparently so do many reviewers. Let's go back to Will at Flow Mountain.
There's plenty of traction from the Hansdampf tyres, and while these haven't been my favourite in the past, they're really well supported here on these 35mm wide rims. The casings are really tough, and I haven't suffered a single puncture throughout testing, which is impressive given both tyres weigh under 1 kilo each. I do think the stock tyres are a fabulous match for the Siskiu T8's playful attitude. They're well suited to typical Australian trail centre conditions, with a really consistent feel and excellent traction on dusty single track and through hard packed berms.
It's great to have such high quality and versatile tires straight out of the box, and Polygon even went a step further and made them tubeless ready, which means all you need is some sealant and some valves and you're good to go. So if you want to learn a little bit more about the part spec on the T8, check out the overview video that I've linked in the description below. But for now, let's put the T8 in the hot spot and see how it compares and stands up against other best-selling mountain bikes in the industry. When you look at the price tag of the Siskiu T8 and compare it to bikes with similar specs, like the Canyon Neuro 6, the Trek Fuel EX8, or a Specialized Stump Jumper alloy, you'll quickly realize that it offers exceptional value for your hard-earned money. So if you're like me and you want to get as much bike as you can for your money, the T8 is the bike for you. If you've been curious about if the Polygon Siskiu T8 should be your next bike, I think you just found the answer. But if you're still on the fence and want to learn a little bit more, drop your questions in the comments and I'll be sure to answer them. I've also added another link in the description below where you can actually go and buy your Polygon Siskiu T8 if you're ready to pull the trigger and experience all that this awesome and highly acclaimed bike has to offer. And speaking of experiencing all that the bike has to offer, that's what I'm about to do. So once you're done watching this video, get out there and get ripping.